In August 2019, an unhoused man named William Donald Woods walked into a Los Angeles bank. He was there to report a massive problem. Someone had stolen his identity and taken out $200,000 in loans under his name. The bank teller initiated their standard identity verification procedure, which asked Woods a battery of security questions. Woods couldn't answer them because the thief had configured the account years earlier. So the bank called the phone number on file. The thief answered, faxed over identification documents, and told the bank that no one in California should have access to his money. The bank called the police, and Woods was arrested. Woods spent 428 days in a county jail, followed by 147 days confined to a state psychiatric hospital. He was forcibly medicated and eventually coerced into a plea deal that included a court order requiring him to stop using his own name and legally adopt the name of the man who stole it. Woods wasn't the victim of a random bureaucratic glitch. His experience was the predictable output of an integrated system designed to prioritize accumulated data over physical reality. We have to go back to 1988. Woods and Matthew Keirans were working together at a hot dog cart in Albuquerque, New Mexico. At some point during that job, Keirans stole Woods' social security number. Over the next 3 decades, Keirans built a highly documented life, eventually becoming a systems architect at the University of Iowa Hospital. He bought a copy of Woods' birth certificate online. The actual Woods, meanwhile, navigated homelessness and irregular employment, generating very little administrative paperwork. Modern identity verification apparatus focuses on internal consistency within a database. Over 30 years, Keirans accumulated credit scores, addresses, and tax records, creating a massive administrative shadow. Once that shadow is cast, institutions like banks, landlords, and the police increasingly interact with the digital shadow rather than the biological person. This creates a structural priority for the database over the human. Because Keirans had established a 30-year pattern of successful authentications, the system's burden of proof inverted. These security regimes are designed to prevent new customers from establishing fraudulent relationships, not to relitigate the highly established ones. The customer of record is automatically presumed real, and the undocumented challenger bears the burden of dislodging that presumption. The bank did not fail in its duty. It succeeded exactly as programmed by validating the superior data archive. The system structurally protected the most documented profile, regardless of the truth. Locked inside the criminal justice system, Woods persistently maintained that he was William Donald Woods and that a stranger had hijacked his life. Because he wouldn't accept the charges against him, the state judge ordered a competency evaluation. Modern American competency jurisprudence, particularly the Supreme Court doctrine established in Sell v. United States, allows the government to forcibly medicate an incompetent defendant. This framework imagines a defendant whose deficits flow from a genuine psychiatric condition. This created an epistemological trap. The psychiatric interview is not equipped to investigate whether a patient's life history is empirically real. Clinicians must treat the reality presented by the referring court and its file as the truth. The paperwork becomes the unquestioned floor of the assessment. Antipsychotics given for competency restoration blunt the affective intensity with which a patient maintains a belief. For a man telling the truth, these powerful drugs function as a coerced mechanism for extracting acquiescence to a falsehood. To the clinical archetype, Woods' accurate description of identity theft was indistinguishable from a persecutory delusion. Every institution, from the bank teller to the psychiatric clinicians, assigned a deflated credibility to Woods while inflating the credibility of the wealthy professional. Philosophers call this testimonial injustice, a structural prejudice where a speaker's word is automatically discounted simply because of their identity. Because Woods was unhoused and black, his physical truth was systematically pathologized. Woods was eventually released, and his complaints finally landed on the desk of University of Iowa police detective Ian Mallory in 2023. Mallory was initially inclined to believe the prior agencies, but when he contacted Keirans, the IT architect was condescending. That interpersonal friction motivated the detective to step outside the loop of paperwork. He noticed both men claimed the same father in Kentucky and ordered a biological DNA test to prove it. The 30-year lie collapsed. Confronted with the DNA results, Keirans admitted his life was over. He pleaded guilty to federal charges, and Wood's wrongful California convictions were finally vacated. This illustrates a condition called bureaucratic epistemic closure. This occurs when a network of institutions seamlessly passes records back and forth, accepting each other's outputs as truth, without ever verifying the biological reality of the subject. The assemblage is powerful because it is composable, but dangerous because its errors compound rather than wash out. Until we build independent biometric tiebreakers into our identity dispute pipelines, the system will continue to operate blindly on the records it generates. An automated administrative state that prioritizes the archive over the body retains the power to legally annihilate the truth teller.